9 by SAULT. SAULT. 10 songs, 34 minutes long. SAULT are an interesting group because no one really knows who they are. They just kind of exist. At least from what I know of.
Yeah, they're a British music collective that has like house rhythm, like R&B, disco, all these other different
Yep.
things. But they, in a much better job than Damon Albarn and Jamie Hewlett do, of hiding
I'm
their
sorry,
identities. And
I'm sorry, this is Damon from Blur. I can't hide it anymore.
yeah, uh, Jamie losing his shit in the very, very first Gorillaz interview.
Yep.
But yeah, SAULT's very interesting. This is just a very multi-instrumental project. The album's called 9. There's a title track called 9, and it's track number 9. But Haha, it kind of like leads into London Gangs, which is like, it has like it's a really like indie sounding track, honestly. Like,
it's a great fucking track.
Yeah.
London Gangs, when your soul is tied, it's all built on lies. Now you're here for life. You only know venom, so you're here for life. So you're here for life. So you're here for life.
It's sort of reminiscent to maybe like Viagra Boys or the stuff we reviewed earlier this year, where it has like a really heavy, grungy like guitar thing to it in the back. You're sort of just shouting like stuff in the background. Maybe like post-punk could considerably be the thing, but like not quite. It's just like a really interesting indie thing that you've been seeing. And then like London Gangs is like a pretty good track, but I just love Trap Life for being like, it's a song that is very much about trap life that has none of the instrumentals whatsoever. And so like it would fit thematically in like a next to a 21 Savage song if you just read out the lyrics. But
yeah,
like,
but then you have the production of it and you're like, it's like some Bahia Bay jams or just like dance on the beach.
Yeah, like it sounds, yeah, it has like kind of a beach like club, not like, it sounds like a beach jazz club vibe atmosphere to it, because there's nothing like really dancey to it, but like it could be played in a particularly upbeat jazz club, let's say, right? But yeah, the lyrics are like, we don't trust these ops kind of shit. Like it's really funny. I love that juxtaposition. That's just like a really creative thing. And so you're really like on one for this record. There's just 2 features. Song 5, Mike's Story, which is kind of like more of an interlude with Mike Ofo, and then another one, You From London, which is again like kind of like a spoken word interlude song featuring Little Sims, who we've talked about a lot also in the Gorillaz cinematic universe, but also like in her own right as a musician, really, really awesome doing stuff there. But each song is like a box of chocolates. You don't quite know what you're gonna get.
It's fantastic record. I love this thing so much. It's short and it's concise. It's experimental in nature, and all of like the lyrics in there, they all have meaning. The tracks are really deep and meaningful. They hit you right in the spot. But you never know what you're getting with each track. Like London Games is like this, almost like post-punk / electronica with the bass work and everything in there. Like song, you have Trap Life right after that, which the end of Trap Life, like it goes into this like straight up like UK garage sound and everything, which I absolutely love. We're just like tripping balls and just like the room is, and you're just like, oh, I love that. You have Fear, which then like has this really nice like indie rocky-ish sound and whatnot. And Mike's Story kind of like interludes the album, and that's actually a pretty sad story when you listen to it. And then the rest of the album's great. It's really nice and refreshing to have these records that are they're not necessarily mainstream, but they have a pretty like at least on Spotify, like they have a lot of monthly listeners and stuff to them, and they're very good at what they make.
Yeah. They got a shout out from Questlove during his like dunk on DaBaby, For like, you know, being like artists that were like on his radar, for being like really cool, really interesting, doing really cool shit that Questlove, former Roots, like, you know, legend, wanted to work with. And yeah, you just get like a lot of really interesting things here. The latter half of the record is a lot more jazzy, like Bitter Streets, Alcohol, like you're saying, could definitely be seen as these really like deeper trap and not a trap and B, but like neo pop songs. There's like
One step forward, two steps back. One step forward, two steps back. Alcohol, look what I've done.
slower, not quite like in sound, but you know, like a Snow Allegra kind of thing, like in production, right? Like it's a slower, like pure R&B neo pop kind of deal, right? That wouldn't feel out of place from that. You From London just features like the most like annoying American tropes about like people from London and all this shit. Like it's really just like flashbacks, like everything I hate about being in middle school. Honestly, people asking about like, oh, do you ride horses and do you see the Queen and do you have like a tea time? Things that responses to these questions got me into increasing amounts of trouble as a kid. But like
Fair play.
yeah.
And then you have 9, which is like this gorgeous indie track too. It's just like it's this record is like it gives you everything and nothing at the same time. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Never heard of SAULT before until this, and I'm definitely glad I have this podcast to listen to this shit because I am listening to this record a lot.
Yeah. I'm now looking back through their discography. In 2017, they released an album called 5 and an album called 7. So this is a pattern, it looks like. Don't know where 1 or 3 is, but you know, odd numbers, whatever. I can pass an SAT. Anyways, the arbitrary scale is obscure Olympic sports, because it has been, because it's Audioface and our review stands for itself. I'm gonna give this steeplechase.
Steeplechase is solid.
Think of track and field, like the 100-yard dash, with obstacles.
I could see it. This is a solid synchronized swimming.
Great choice.
Like it's just like it's wild, and I only thought that existed in like really weird footage of the 30s and shit. But apparently it's an Olympic sport.
Yeah, there's something. I mean, like, there's something inherently fascistic about synchronicity of all kinds. But like, yeah, I didn't really know it was an Olympic sport until then. But yeah, no, you're trying to combine like synchronized routines, like gymnastics, along with doing it in the water, which is just wild.
Yes.
So props to them and props for that.